Right now, as you're watching this, somewhere in America, a house just went up $20,000 in value for absolutely no reason other than vibes and panic. Entire cities that used to be cheap and chill are getting devoured. One out-of-state buyer, one remote worker, one overpriced coffee shop at a time. What used to be affordable is disappearing faster than your paycheck after rent hits. And here's the scary part. The places on this list, they're next. These are the last 10 affordable cities in America where you can still buy a home without selling a kidney on the dark web, but not for long. The secret is leaking, the crowds are coming, and prices, they're already creeping. So if you've ever dreamed of escaping insane rent, this is your last call before these cities go the way of Austin, Denver, and every other We Missed It story. Hit like, subscribe, and brace yourself, because trust me, you are not ready for number 1. Number 10, Toledo, Ohio. Let's kick this off in a place that sounds like it should be the setting of a gritty indie film, but is actually one of the last strongholds of weight. Houses cost how much? Number 10, Toledo, Ohio. Here's the hard data. The median home price in Toledo hovers around $140,000 to $160,000, which feels like a typo in today's market. Rent? You're looking at roughly $900, wasn't $1,100 a month, well below the national average. Now for the reality check, crime rates are above the national average, especially in certain neighborhoods. Toledo isn't pretending to be perfect. It's not that kind of city. This place is pure Rust Belt energy. Old factories, wide streets, and that slightly haunted feeling like the town remembers when it was thriving and is still waiting for that comeback tour. But here's the twist. People are quietly rediscovering it. You're sitting right by Lake Erie with actual waterfront views that don't require a billionaire's bank account. You've got proximity to Detroit, access to nature, and a cost of living so low it feels like you've time traveled back to 2003. Now the real talk, Toledo is like a thrift store. If you know where to look, you'll find absolute gems. If you don't, you might walk out wondering what just happened. Some neighborhoods are charming and on the upswing. Others feel like they've been stuck in a time loop since Blockbuster was still a thing. And yes, winters here don't play games. The wind coming off Lake Erie has a personality, and that personality is I will ruin your day. The Reddit vibe? You'll see locals saying things like, Toledo's not bad, you just need to know which streets to turn on and which ones to avoid like expired milk. It's honest. It's a little rough, but it's real. And here's why it's on this list. Investors and first-time buyers are circling. Slowly, quietly, like sharks who just smelled undervalued. Prices are creeping up, not exploding yet, but definitely stretching. Picture this. You're standing on a slightly creaky front porch of a century-old house you somehow bought for less than a luxury car. The air smells like lake water and possibility. The sun's setting over a skyline that's been through things, but isn't done yet. And if you think Toledo feels like a hidden bargain with a few scratches, just wait until you see what's coming next. Number 9, Little Rock, Arkansas. Now we head south where the tea is sweet, the summers are aggressive, and somehow the housing prices still haven't completely lost their minds. Number 9, Little Rock, Arkansas. Let's talk numbers. The median home price in Little Rock sits around $220,000, $250,000, still comfortably below the national average. Rent? You're looking at about $1,000, $1,300 a month, depending on how close you want to be to downtown or anything resembling nightlife. As for crime, yeah, we're not dodging it. Crime rates here are above the national average, especially in certain pockets of the city. But here's where things get interesting. Little Rock is like that underrated restaurant you almost don't want to tell people about. It's got a growing job market, especially in healthcare and government, and a surprisingly solid food scene that doesn't get enough credit. Barbecue, fried everything, and enough comfort food to make your gym membership feel like a suggestion rather than a commitment. The city itself sits along the Arkansas River with trails, parks, and enough greenery to remind you that nature still exists outside of Instagram. Now the real talk, the humidity here, it's not weather, it's a lifestyle. Stepping outside in July feels like walking into a warm soup that someone forgot to season. And the bugs? Let's just say they act like they pay rent too. Mosquitoes here are organized, unionized even. But despite that, people are moving in. Why? Because compared to places like Dallas or Nashville, this still feels like a financial loophole. You can actually buy a house, not just dream about one while refreshing Zillow like it's a slot machine. The Reddit vibe sums it up perfectly. Little Rock is what you make of it. Stay in the right areas and it's affordable and chill. Ignore that advice and good luck, it's a a city of contrasts. Charming neighborhoods with big trees and front porches, sitting just a few turns away from places that feel a little less forgiving. And here's the catch. This affordability, it's starting to get noticed. Slowly but surely, more people are realizing you can live here for half the price of bigger cities. And that realization is the beginning of the end. Picture this. You're sitting on a shaded porch, ceiling fans spinning lazily above you, cicadas buzzing like background music. The air is thick, the sky is glowing orange, and somewhere nearby, someone's grilling something that smells incredible. And if you think Little Rock is the perfect mix of cheap and livable, wait until you see the next city, where nature is bigger, prices are rising faster, and winter hits like a personal vendetta. Number 8. Spokane, Washington. Alright, now we jump to a place that used to be whispered about like a secret, and is now being talked about a little too loudly. Number 8. Spokane, Washington. Here's the hard data. The median home price in Spokane has climbed to around $380,000, $420,000. A few years ago, that number would have made locals laugh. Rent? Expect about $1,400, $1,700 a month, creeping closer to national averages. Crime sits slightly above the national average, particularly property crime, but it's not the Wild West people on Facebook make it out to be. Spokane is what happens when people get priced out of Seattle but still want mountains, rivers, and that Pacific Northwest aesthetic without selling their soul to a tech company. And visually, it delivers. You've got waterfalls right in downtown, pine trees everywhere, and access to lakes and skiing that feels borderline unfair for the price. At least for now. But here's the real talk. Spokane is in that awkward teenage phase. It's not cheap like it used to be, but it's not fully expensive either. It's like watching someone slowly realize they're attractive and then immediately start raising their standards. The winters? Brutal. Not cute, not cozy, brutal. Snow that lingers, gray skies that feel like they're on a long-term lease, and temperatures that make you question your life choices. This is not the light jacket and coffee version of the Pacific Northwest. This is the why do my eyelashes hurt version. Still, people keep coming. Why? Because compared to Seattle, where a modest home costs the same as a small European country, Spokane still feels like a deal. Remote workers, retirees, and Californians who got tired of paying $3,000 for a studio are all showing up. And locals? They've noticed. The Reddit vibe is loud and clear. Spokane used to be affordable, now it's just less expensive than Seattle. There's a difference. That sentence alone tells you everything you need to know. The window is still open, but it's closing, slowly, creaking like a door in a horror movie. Neighborhoods are changing, new developments are popping up. Coffee shops that charge $7 for something with oat milk are appearing like mushrooms after rain. It's happening. Spokane is no longer a secret, it's a backup plan that everyone discovered at the same time. And if you think Spokane is a city on the edge of losing its affordability, wait until you see what's happening in the next place, where college town charm meets a migration wave that's starting to heat things up fast. Number 7. Knoxville, Tennessee. Now we head into the Smoky Mountains region, where everything looks peaceful, charming, and quietly starts getting more expensive while you're distracted by the scenery. Number 7. Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's break it down. The median home price in Knoxville is now hovering around $330,000, $360,000, which is still under the national average, but barely holding the line. Rent typically falls between $1,200, $1,500 a month, depending on how close you are to downtown or the University of Tennessee. Crime rates are around the national average. With some areas safer than others, it's a patchwork, like most growing cities. Knoxville has that classic formula people are chasing right now. College town energy plus, outdoor access plus, southern charm. Translation? It's exactly the kind of place people move to after they get tired of paying $2,500 for a one-bedroom in a vibrant urban core. You've got the Smoky Mountains practically in your backyard. Hiking, lakes, road trips, it's all there. And downtown Knoxville, surprisingly alive. Breweries, live music, and just enough culture to make you feel like you didn't completely give up on civilization. Now here's the real talk. Knoxville is like that chill friend who suddenly gets popular, and you can already see it changing them. Traffic is getting worse, housing is tightening, and locals are starting to side-eye newcomers the way a cat watches a dog enter its territory. Also, summers? Hot. Not oh it's warm hot, more like why is the air hugging me? Hot. Humidity shows up uninvited and refuses to leave. You will sweat doing absolutely nothing. It's impressive, honestly. But despite that, people are flooding in. Why? Because Knoxville still offers something rare: balance. You can have a decent house, decent job prospects, and actual nature without needing venture capital funding to survive. The Reddit vibe captures it perfectly. Knoxville used to be affordable, now it's getting discovered. If you're coming, you're either early or already a little late. That's the tension here. It's still within reach, but you can feel the clock ticking. Prices aren't exploding yet, but they're definitely stretching, like a rubber band that's starting to look a little nervous. Neighborhoods are filling in. New builds are creeping outward. And every year, fewer people can say, wow, this place is cheap. Knoxville is no longer under the radar, it's on the radar and blinking. And if you think Knoxville is heating up, just wait until you see the next city, where the landscape looks like another planet. The culture hits different, and the trade-offs get a whole lot sharper. Number 6, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now we shift into something completely different. Less green hills, more desert surrealism. A place that feels like it exists slightly outside of reality. Number 6, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Here's the hard data. The median home price in Albuquerque sits around $310,000, $340,000, still below the national average, but climbing. Rent? You're looking at roughly $1,200, $1,500 a month. Crime rates, though, are well above the national average, particularly when it comes to property crime. So yeah, this is where things get complicated. But Albuquerque has something most cities don't, a vibe you can't replicate. The desert landscape, the Sandia Mountains glowing pink at sunset, hot air balloons casually floating through the sky like it's no big deal. This place feels cinematic, like someone hit a filter called Breaking Bad, but peaceful sometimes. Cost-wise, it still makes sense. You can actually buy a home here without needing a trust fund or 3 roommates who all work in tech. And compared to places like Phoenix or Denver, it feels like a financial loophole that hasn't fully closed yet. Now for the real talk, Albuquerque is unpredictable. One block feels calm, quiet, almost magical. 2 blocks over, you're double checking your car is locked twice. It's a city of extremes, and you have to learn it. The job market, not exactly booming. This isn't where you move to climb the ladder. This is where you move to step off the treadmill, or at least slow it down a bit. And the desert life, beautiful, yes, but also dry. Like, why do I suddenly need lotion for my thoughts? Dry. Summers are hot, winters are mild, and the sun is basically always watching you. The Reddit vibe says it best: Albuquerque is amazing, as long as you know where to live and don't expect it to be something it's not. That's the key. This city doesn't try to impress you, it just exists unapologetically. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you probably leave. But here's why it's on this list: people are starting to catch on. Remote workers, artists, people priced out of Colorado, they're all looking at Albuquerque like, wait, this is still affordable? And slowly, quietly, prices are inching up. Not exploding, not yet, but definitely rising, like heat off the pavement. Albuquerque is still one of the last places where you can find something unique, affordable, and a little weird, before it becomes discovered and sanded down into something more predictable. And if you think Albuquerque walks the line between affordable and risky, wait until you see the next city, where everything is stable, predictable, and maybe just a little too comfortable. Number 5, Des Moines, Iowa. Now we take a sharp turn into a place that doesn't scream for attention, it just quietly gets everything right. Number 5, Des Moines, Iowa. Let's talk numbers. The median home price here sits around $280,000, $310,000, comfortably below the national average. Rent, typically $1,000, $1,300 a month, depending on how fancy you want to get. And crime rates, below the national average, which in today's world feels like finding a restaurant that still gives free bread. Des Moines is what happens when a city decides to be stable instead of flashy. It's got a strong job market, insurance, finance, tech quietly humming in the background, and an economy that doesn't feel like it's one bad day away from a meltdown. This is the kind of place where people have routines, predictable lives, lawns that are suspiciously well maintained. Now the real talk, Des Moines is safe, affordable, and functional, but excitement? That's not really its brand. This city is like a perfectly reliable Toyota Camry. It will never betray you, but it's also not going to thrill you. Nightlife exists, technically. You'll find breweries, a few solid restaurants, and events that locals genuinely enjoy. But if you're expecting non-stop energy, you might find yourself checking your watch by 9:30 p.m., wondering if you accidentally fast-forwarded your life. And the winters? Oh, they show up with authority. Cold, gray, and persistent. The kind of cold that makes your car question its purpose and your bones start start negotiating. Still, people are moving here. Why? Because Des Moines offers something that's becoming dangerously rare: peace of mind. You can afford a home. You can feel relatively safe. You can build a life without constantly doing financial gymnastics. The Reddit vibe sums it up perfectly. Des Moines is boring, but in a good way. You can actually live here without stressing all the time. And honestly, that's a selling point now. But here's the twist: this kind of stability is starting to attract attention. Remote workers, families, people escaping chaos, they're all starting to look at cities like this and think, wait, why am I struggling somewhere else? And that's when prices start creeping. Slowly. Quietly, politely, because it's Des Moines. This isn't a city that will explode overnight, but don't mistake that for immunity. The more people realize how livable it is, the faster that affordability starts to slip. Des Moines is still one of the safest bets in America, but even safe bets don't stay cheap forever. And if you think Des Moines is quietly holding the line, wait until you see the next city, where growth isn't subtle, it's charging in fast, powered by corporate money and a wave of newcomers who are already changing everything. Number 4. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Now we're stepping into a place that used to be a true hidden gem and is now rapidly turning into, wait, why is everyone moving here? Number 4. Fayetteville, Arkansas. Here's the hard data. The median home price has climbed to around $350,000, $390,000, which is still under the national average, but rising fast. Rent sits around $1,200, $1,600 a month, depending on proximity to the university. Crime rates are below the national average, making it one of the safer picks on this list. So what's going on here? Simple Walmart money. Fayetteville is part of the Northwest Arkansas region, where companies like Walmart, Tyson Foods, and JB Hunt are pumping serious economic energy into what used to be a quiet college town. Translation, jobs, development, and a steady stream of people showing up with fresh paychecks and big expectations. You've also got the University of Arkansas, which gives the city that youthful, slightly chaotic college town vibe: football games, packed bars, and just enough energy to keep things interesting. And nature? It's everywhere. Rolling hills, biking trails, hiking spots. It's like someone took a Pinterest board labeled outdoorsy lifestyle and made it real. Now the real talk: Fayetteville is in the middle of a glow up, and glow ups come with side effects. Traffic is getting worse, housing inventory is tightening, and locals are starting to feel like the city they grew up in is being quietly rebranded without asking permission. Also, while it's growing fast, it's still Arkansas, which means if you're expecting big city diversity, non-stop nightlife, or endless entertainment options, you might hit a wall pretty quickly. The Reddit vibe says it all. Fayetteville used to be cheap and amazing. Now it's just amazing and getting expensive. That shift is everything. This isn't a place where affordability is stable, it's actively slipping. Every year more people discover it. Every year prices tick up. And every year someone says, man, I wish I bought here 5 years ago. Sound familiar? Fayetteville is what happens right before a place fully blows up. It's still within reach, but you can feel the pressure building, like a balloon that's getting a little too full, and once it crosses that line, it doesn't go back. This is one of those cities where timing matters more than almost anywhere else on this list. You're either early, or you're the person explaining later why you almost moved there. And if you think Fayetteville is growing fast, wait until you see what's coming next, where Midwest charm meets a booming scene, and winters that feel like a personal challenge issued by nature itself. Number 3, Grand Rapids, Michigan 470 word. Now we head back into the Midwest, where things are affordable, friendly, and occasionally feel like winter is a personality trait. Number 3, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Here's the hard data. The median home price in Grand Rapids sits around $300,000, $340,000, still below the national average, though it's been climbing steadily. Rent? Expect about $1,200, $1,500 a month. Crime rates are slightly above the national average, but nothing that puts it in run for your life territory, more like lock your car and don't leave your bike outside overnight. Grand Rapids has quietly built a reputation as one of the most livable small cities in America. It's got a growing economy, a strong healthcare sector, and enough industry to keep things stable without feeling overwhelming. But let's be honest, the real headline here: beer. This place is basically the unofficial craft beer capital of the Midwest. Breweries are everywhere, like they're competing for dominance in some kind of hop-fueled survival game. You could spend a full year here and still not try them all, which may or may not be a problem depending on your self-control. Now the real talk, Grand Rapids is charming, yes, but it's also very Midwest, which means things move a little slower, life is calmer, and if you're coming from a big city, you might initially feel like someone turned the volume down on everything. And then there's winter. Not cute winter. Not let's take photos in the snow winter. This is lake effect winter, which basically means the sky dumps snow on you like it's holding a grudge. Long, gray, cold stretches that test your patience, your wardrobe, and your will to leave the house. But people stay. And more importantly, people are arriving. Why? Because Grand Rapids hits that rare balance, affordable, stable, and just interesting enough to not feel like you've given up on life. The Reddit vibe nails it. Grand Rapids is a great place to live, as long as you're okay with winter being half your personality. It's honest, and it's accurate. But here's the shift. This city is no longer flying under the radar. More people are discovering it. More companies are investing. And more homes are getting snapped up faster than they used to. Prices aren't exploding, but they're definitely rising. Quietly, consistently, like a slow burning fuse. Grand Rapids is still affordable, but it's not sleeping anymore. And if you think this city is starting to wake up, wait until you see what's coming next, where mountains, internet speed, and remote workers are colliding into one of the fastest rising cities on this list. Number 2, Chattanooga, Tennessee. Now this is where things start getting dangerous. Not crime-wise, price-wise. Here's the hard data. The median home price in Chattanooga is now around $320,000, $360,000, and climbing. Rent sits roughly between $1,300, $1,600 a month. Crime rates are above the national average, especially in certain areas, but like most cities, it really depends on where you land. Chattanooga used to be one of those places people whispered about like a secret fishing spot. Not anymore. This city has everything modern movers are hunting for. Mountains, rivers, insane outdoor access, and this is the kicker, some of the fastest internet in the country. We're talking gig speed that made remote workers collectively say, wait, why am I still paying $3,000 in California? And just like that, the floodgates opened. The downtown, clean, walkable, and weirdly polished. The Tennessee River cuts through the city like it's showing off. Bridges, trails, kayaking, it's basically an Ray commercial come to life. Now the real talk, Chattanooga is going through a full-blown identity shift. It used to be laid back, affordable, a little sleepy. Now, it's buzzing. New apartments, new restaurants, new people, all arriving at the same time. And with that comes the usual side effects, traffic, rising costs, and locals quietly wondering when their hometown turned into a startup pitch. Also, summer here? Oppressive. The kind of heat that makes you reconsider going outside unless absolutely necessary. The humidity doesn't just exist, it lingers, like it's trying to start a conversation. But none of that is slowing people down. The Reddit vibe says it perfectly. Chattanooga was affordable 5 years ago. Now it's get in while you still can. That's the energy here. This isn't a slow burn like some other cities on this list. Chattanooga is actively heating up. Every year prices jump a little higher, every year more people arrive, and every year the window gets smaller. This is what the early stages of a boom look like. Not fully expensive yet, but clearly heading there. Chattanooga isn't a secret anymore, it's a trend. And trends don't stay cheap. And if you think Chattanooga is rising fast, you are absolutely not ready for what's sitting at number 1. The city that somehow, against all logic, is still affordable, but not for much longer. And here it is. The city that somehow slipped through the cracks. The one that shouldn't still be affordable, but is. For now. Number 1. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's get straight to it. The median home price in Pittsburgh is sitting around $240,000, $280,000. Read that again. In a country where starter homes now cost $500,000 in many cities, Pittsburgh is out here acting like it didn't get the memo. Rent? Around $1,100, $1,400 a month, still below the national average. Crime rates are slightly above the national average, but generally manageable depending on the neighborhood. Now here's why this place hits different. Pittsburgh is not some sleepy small town. This is a real city. Skyscrapers, bridges everywhere, professional sports, universities, hospitals, tech jobs. It's got infrastructure, culture, and actual economic backbone. This place used to be steel and smoke. Now it's quietly transformed into a hub for healthcare, education, robotics, and tech without the ego or price tag of places like Boston or San Francisco. And visually, it's underrated. Rolling hills, rivers cutting through the city, neighborhoods stacked on top of each other like someone built it in layers. It's gritty, but in a way that feels earned. Like the city has stories, and it's not trying to impress you, it just exists. Now the real talk, Pittsburgh is not polished. The weather? Gray. A lot. Sunshine feels like a guest appearance. Winters are cold, damp, and just long enough to make you question things. And the hills? Beautiful, until you're driving in snow and suddenly negotiating with gravity. Also, the city layout? Confusing. Roads twist, bridges appear out of nowhere, and GPs occasionally just gives up on you like, good luck. But despite all that, people are catching on, because Pittsburgh offers something almost extinct in America right now. A big city life you can still afford. The Reddit vibe says it best. Pittsburgh is what every other city used to be. Livable, affordable, and actually real. That line hits hard. Because it's true. This isn't a hidden gem anymore, it's a last chance. Investors are already moving in. Young professionals are showing up. Companies are expanding. And slowly, quietly, prices are starting to rise. Not explosively, not dramatically, but steadily. And once that momentum builds, it doesn't stop. Pittsburgh is sitting in that rare moment where it's still accessible, still reasonable, still within reach, but not for long. This is what the end of affordability looks like before it disappears completely. So here's the reality no one wants to say out loud. Affordable cities in America aren't disappearing, they're being hunted, one by one, quietly, predictably. First, they're underrated, then they're up and coming, then suddenly you can't afford them anymore. Every city on this list is sitting in that dangerous middle phase, still within reach, but not for long. The kind of places people look back on and say, I should have moved there when I had the chance. Because that window, it doesn't stay open. So the question isn't if these cities will change, it's how fast. Which one surprised you the most? Which one would you actually move to? Drop it in the comments, I read everything. And if you want to stay ahead of the next wave, the next cities before they blow up, hit subscribe. Because in the next video, we're talking about the cities that were affordable and exactly how they lost it.